Good evening and welcome to the Sleeping Zoo. Facts to fall asleep to. To look upon the plains of the African savanna is to witness a landscape defined by the struggle for existence. Yet no creature occupies this space with as much visual defiance as the zebra. While most ungulates rely on the subtle hues of ochre and tan to melt into the shimmering heat of the scrubland, the zebra stands as a stark contradiction in black and white. This animal is not merely a striped horse, but a highly specialized evolutionary marvel that diverged from a common ancestor millions of years ago to occupy a niche that is as demanding as it is ancient. Understanding the zebra requires us to look beyond the surface level of its coat and into the deep history of the equid lineage, a journey that began roughly 55 million years ago with the tiny forest-dwelling Equus. As the global climate shifted and the dense forests of the Eocene gave way to the sprawling grasslands of the Miocene, the ancestors of the modern zebra underwent a radical transformation. Their toes reduced in number until only a single sturdy hoof remained, and their teeth grew longer and more complex to grind the abrasive silica-rich grasses of the open plains. The specific divergence of the zebra from the caballoid lineage, which eventually produced the domestic horse, occurred approximately 4 million years ago. Genetic evidence suggests that the ancestors of zebras and donkeys split from the horse line first, followed by a later separation between the zebras and the wild asses. Within the zebra group itself, we find 3 distinct species that represent different solutions to the challenges of the African environment. The plains zebra, known scientifically as Equus quagga, is the most abundant and widely distributed, characterized by its relatively broad stripes and the presence of faint brownish shadow stripes in some subspecies. In the more arid regions of the north, we find the Grevy zebra, Equus grevii, a towering and regal animal with narrow, vertical stripes and large rounded ears that reflect its closer genetic affinity to the wild ash. Finally, the mountain zebra, Equus zebra, clings to the rugged escarpments of southern and southwestern Africa, possessing a unique dewlap on its throat and a gridiron pattern of stripes across its rump. These 3 species are not interbreeding neighbors but distinct evolutionary paths, each fine-tuned to the specific demands of their respective terrains. The most enduring mystery of the zebra, and perhaps the most debated topic in all of African biology, is the purpose of those iconic stripes. For over a century, naturalists and physicists alike have proposed a variety of theories, but only recently has modern technology allowed us to test these hypotheses with scientific rigor. One of the oldest theories is that of motion dazzle, a concept borrowed from naval camouflage. The idea is that when a herd of zebras bolts in the face of a predator, the overlapping patterns of black and white create a dizzying optical illusion. This chaotic visual field makes it exceptionally difficult for a lion or a leopard to single out an individual target or to accurately judge the speed and direction of a specific animal. In the high-stakes environment of a hunt, a fraction of a second of hesitation on the part of the predator is the difference between a meal and a missed opportunity. This optical flow is especially effective during the twilight hours when the contrast of the stripes mimics the flickering patterns of light and shadow in the tall grass. Beyond predator confusion, researchers have delved into the social functions of the stripes. Because no 2 zebras have identical markings, the stripes act as a biological barcode, allowing individuals to recognize one another within a crowded herd. This social bonding is crucial for the stability of the harem, where a dominant stallion must keep track of his mares and foals. Furthermore, the stripes may play a role in grooming behavior, as the high contrast areas may stimulate certain tactile responses that reinforce communal ties. However, recent studies have suggested that the most profound impact of the stripes may be invisible to the human eye, occurring at the level of thermal regulation. The black stripes absorb heat more readily than the white ones, And some biophysicists hypothesize that this temperature differential creates tiny microconvection currents just above the surface of the skin. These air movements might act as a localized cooling system, allowing the zebra to graze in the midday sun for longer periods than other herbivores who must seek shade to avoid heatstroke. Despite the elegance of the thermal and social theories, the most scientifically supported explanation for the zebra's coat involves a much smaller and more persistent adversary: the biting fly. The savanna is home to tsetse flies and horseflies that carry debilitating diseases such as trypanosomiasis and equine infectious anemia. Unlike humans, many insects see the world through polarized light. Research conducted with striped targets has revealed that the black and white pattern of a zebra reflects light in a way that disrupts the fly's visual landing system. To a fly, the zebra does not look like a solid object, but rather a fragmented and flickering mess that prevents it from making a controlled touchdown. This pest avoidance strategy is a masterful example of biological warfare, where a coat pattern serves as a high-tech shield against the smallest but most dangerous threats in the environment. Moving from the exterior to the interior, the zebra's survival is anchored by its remarkable digestive physiology. Unlike cattle or antelopes, which are ruminants with 4-chambered stomachs, zebras are hind gut fermenters. This means they possess a single stomach and a massive, specialized organ called the cecum, where bacteria break down cellulose after the food has passed through the stomach. While rumination is highly efficient at extracting nutrients from high-quality forage, it is a slow process that requires the animal to stop and chew its cud. The zebra, by contrast, adopts a strategy of volume over efficiency. They can process vast quantities of low-quality, fibrous grass much faster than a cow. This allows them to survive on the tough, dry-top growth of the savanna that would leave a ruminant starving. By moving through an area and shearing off the coarse upper layers of vegetation, the zebra acts as a pioneer grazer. They clear the way for the more selective wildebeest and gazelles that follow behind, to reach the tender, nutrient-rich shoots closer to the ground. This digestive strategy dictates every aspect of the zebra's life, requiring them to spend up to 18 hours a day grazing. Their teeth are specially adapted for this constant attrition, featuring high crowns that continue to grow throughout their lives to compensate for the wear caused by the silica content in the grass. This relentless need for forage drives the great migrations, where hundreds of thousands of zebras move in a rhythmic cycle across the landscape in search of water and fresh growth. Their role as the engine of the ecosystem cannot be overstated. They are the architects of the grassland, maintaining the health of the plains through their movement and their massive appetite. As we look closer at their social structures, we see that this physical resilience is matched by a complex and often aggressive behavioral intelligence. The resilience of the zebra's physical form is matched only by the complexity of its social architecture. While we often view a herd of zebras as a single, undifferentiated mass of stripes, it is in fact a highly organized collection of family units known as harems. In the plains zebra and the mountain zebra, the harem is the fundamental building block of society, typically consisting of one dominant stallion and several mares with their young offspring. This is not a static arrangement, but a lifelong bond, maintained through constant vigilance and subtle communication. The stallion is the undisputed guardian of the group, responsible for defending his females against the advances of rival males and the predations of the savanna's carnivores. When the herd moves, it is often the lead mare who dictates the direction and pace, while the stallion takes up the rear, acting as a rear guard and scanning the horizon for danger. Contrasting with this stable family life is the existence of the bachelor herds. These are loose associations of young males who have not yet established their own harems or older stallions who have been ousted from their positions. Life in a bachelor herd is a perpetual training ground for the violence required to secure a bloodline. These young stallions engage in intense play fighting that mimics the brutal reality of a true challenge, rearing on their hind legs and using their powerful necks to strike one another. When a bachelor finally decides to challenge a harem leader, the resulting conflict is among the most savage displays in the animal kingdom. Zebras do not fight with the grace of horses. They fight with a prehistoric ferocity, aiming for the legs to cripple their opponent or using their massive incisors to tear at the neck and ears. The defensive capabilities of the zebra are a testament to their survival in a landscape where every shadow hides a predator. While they are often viewed as prey, the zebra is a formidable combatant. Their kick is legendary, capable of delivering nearly 3,000 pounds of force per square inch. A blow that can shatter the jaw of a lion or kill a hyena instantly. Unlike the domestic horse, which has been bred for centuries to be compliant and manageable, the zebra has remained wild and temperamental. Their fight or flight response is highly tuned toward the former when cornered. This extreme aggression is the primary reason why the zebra, despite numerous historical attempts, was never successfully domesticated on a wide scale. While European colonizers like Lord Walter Rothschild famously trained a team of zebras to pull his carriage through the streets of London in a flamboyant display of eccentric wealth, these animals were never truly tamed. Their unpredictable nature and tendency to bite or kick without provocation made them unsuitable for the long-term labor and partnership that humans found with the horse and the donkey. This untamable spirit is reflected in the oral traditions of the African continent, where the zebra is often portrayed as a figure of pride and fiery temperament. In the folklore of the San Bushman, the zebra was once an entirely white animal. The legend tells of a time when the zebra guarded a waterhole during a terrible drought, refusing to share with a baboon. The two engaged in a fierce struggle, and as the zebra kicked the baboon into the rocks, he tripped over a fire, and the charred sticks of the wood fell across his white body, leaving the black scorch marks that we see today as stripes. These stories highlight the long-standing recognition of the zebra as a creature of great strength and stubbornness, a vital participant in the cultural landscape of Africa. The true scale of the zebra's impact on the environment is best witnessed during the Great Migration, a circular journey of nearly 2,000 miles through the Serengeti Mara ecosystem. This is not merely a search for food, but a finely tuned ecological process. As pioneer grazers, the zebras are the first to enter a new territory, using their high-crowned teeth to shear through the tallest, toughest grasses. By removing this fibrous top layer, they reveal the softer, more nutritious green growth underneath. Without the zebra to act as the vanguard, the wildebeest and the Thomson's gazelles would struggle to find enough digestible forage to sustain their massive numbers. The zebra's migration is also a quest for essential minerals. They require high levels of calcium and phosphorus for bone health and milk production, often traveling to specific volcanic soils that are rich in these elements. This chemical requirement dictates the timing of their movements as much as the rainfall does. In the southern reaches of Africa, the story of the zebra takes a more tragic and scientific turn with the history of the quagga. Once thought to be a separate species, the quagga was a subspecies of the plains zebra that possessed stripes only on the front half of its body, fading into a solid sandy brown on its rear. By the late 19th century, the quagga had been hunted to extinction by settlers who saw them as competition for their livestock. However, the story did not end with the death of the last individual in an Amsterdam zoo in 1883. More recent genetic analysis of preserved museum skins revealed that the quagga was genetically nearly identical to the extant plains zebra. This discovery gave birth to the Quagga Project, an ambitious effort to use selective breeding of plains zebras with reduced striping to breed back the phenotype of the extinct animal. While these raw quaggas are not genetically identical to the original subspecies, they represent a fascinating attempt to use the plasticity of the zebra's genome to resurrect a lost visual piece of African history. As we continue to observe the zebra, we find that their lives are a constant negotiation between the individual and the collective. Even their sleep patterns are a communal effort. In a harem, individuals will take turns standing watch while others sleep, often resting their heads on each other's backs to stay alert to the vibrations of the ground. This mutualism extends to their relationship with other species. It is common to see zebras grazing alongside ostriches or giraffes, creating a multi-sensory early warning system. The zebra's keen hearing, combined with the ostrich's eyesight and the giraffe's height, makes for a formidable defense against the stealth of a stalking predator. This interspecies cooperation underscores the zebra's role as a central pillar of the savanna's social and ecological network. To understand why the zebra thrives where other herbivores falter, one must look inside. The zebra can process food much faster than a ruminant. While they are less efficient at extracting every possible nutrient from a single blade of grass, they compensate by consuming vast quantities. In times of drought, or when only poor quality forage remains, a zebra can survive on standing hay that would cause a wildebeest to starve. They are the ultimate bulk feeders of the plains, maintaining a constant flow of energy through a system that never rests. This high metabolic lifestyle requires a sophisticated cooling system, and the zebra's stripes may play a role far beyond camouflage. Recent research into zebrine thermoregulation suggests that the alternating black and white bands create microconvection currents. Because black fur absorbs more solar radiation than white fur, the air above the black stripes heats up and rises, while the air above the white stripes remains cooler. This temperature differential creates tiny eddies of moving air that act as a personal fan, whisking away heat from the animal's skin. Furthermore, zebras are among the few mammals that can sweat like humans. Their sweat is specialized, containing a protein called latherin that helps the moisture spread across the oily fur to evaporate more efficiently. This dual-action cooling system allows them to graze in the midday sun of the equator, a time when most predators are forced into the shade. However, even the most advanced biological adaptations cannot fully protect against the rapid shifts of the modern world. This is most evident in the plight of the Grevy's zebra. Found in the arid scrublands of Ethiopia and northern Kenya, the Grevy's is the largest and most equid-like of the species, recognizable by its tall ears and pinstripe-thin markings. Unlike their plains cousins, Grevy's zebras do not form permanent harems. Instead, they live in a fluid fission-fusion society where stallions defend large territories near water sources, hoping to intercept roaming females. Today, they are among the most endangered large mammals in Africa. Habitat fragmentation and competition with domestic livestock for limited water have pushed their numbers to a fraction of their historical range. Conservationists are now utilizing citizen science to track individual Grevy zebras, using software that identifies the unique stripe pattern of each animal, like a natural barcode to monitor population health and movement in real time. Communication within the herd is a symphony of vocalizations and body language that is as nuanced as any primate society. The zebra's vocabulary is surprisingly diverse. There is the high whinny, a piercing call used by foals to locate their mothers in a crowded herd, and the soft nicker, a sound of reassurance between bonded pairs. Most iconic is the bray, a loud, discordant sound that serves as a long-distance greeting or a warning. But perhaps more important than sound is the position of the ears. A zebra with ears pinned flat against its neck is a creature on the verge of a violent outburst, a clear signal to rivals to back off. Conversely, ears tilted forward indicate curiosity or a friendly approach. This visual language is reinforced by mutual grooming, where two zebras stand shoulder to shoulder, nibbling at each other's manes and backs. This behavior is not just about hygiene. It releases endorphins and strengthens the social bonds that are vital for the herd's collective survival. The zebra's reproductive cycle is also a marvel of synchronization with the environment. Mares are typically ready to breed by the age of 3, and the gestation period lasts a full year. This 12-month cycle ensures that the foal is born exactly when the rains return and the grass is at its most nutritious. A newborn zebra foal is a master of rapid development. Within 15 minutes of birth, it can stand, and within an hour, it can run fast enough to keep pace with the herd. This precocial nature is a brutal necessity, as a slow foal is an easy target for a waiting cheetah or leopard. During the first few days of life, the mother is intensely protective, often driving away other members of the harem to ensure the foal imprints solely on her unique stripe pattern and scent. This bond is the foundation of the foal's education, as it learns which grasses are safe to eat and where the hidden water holes are located. As we look to the future of the African savanna, the zebra remains a symbol of both the continent's wild past and its precarious future. They are the canaries in the coal mine for the grasslands. Because they are the first to move into new areas and the last to leave when conditions worsen, their health and migration patterns provide scientists with an early warning system for the health of the entire ecosystem. To lose the zebra would be to lose the gardener of the plains, the architect of the migration, and one of the most striking examples of evolutionary creativity. Their stripes, once a mystery that baffled the greatest minds of biology, now stand as a reminder that in nature, even the most flamboyant designs serve a purpose of profound utility and survival. Thank you, and good night.